Good evening, students. Welcome to our Dhyeya Education Foundation Maharashtra. Today we are going to learn phonics. An alphabet is a set of letters that we do make words. There are 26 letters in the English alphabet. There are 26 alphabets in their English. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. There are 26 letters in the English alphabet, all with their own sound. All with their own sounds. That sound is called phonics. That sound is called phonics. A. S says A. A says A. Adam and Andrew ate. Adam and Andrew ate apples. Adam ate. Adam and Andrew ate apples. A for apple. S is A. S is A. S is A. B says B. B says B. A boy baked a banana bread. A boy. B says B. Boy baked a banana bread. B says banana. B says B, banana. B says B, banana. C says K. C says K. A cute cat climbs a castle. A cute cat climbs a castle. C says K. C says K. Cup, castle, cute, climbs. C says K. C says K. Next, D says D. D says D. Don't disturb the dancing donkey. Don't disturb the dancing donkey. D says D. D says D. D says D. Donkey. This picture is donkey. Don't disturb the dancing donkey. D. D says D. Next is E says A. E says A. Elephant. E says A. Elephant. The elephant enjoys playing with everyone. The elephant enjoys playing with everyone. Okay? E says A. E says A. Elephant. The elephant enjoys playing with the enjoys everyone. A. Everyone enjoys. E says A. Next, F says F. F says F. F says F. F says F. Sentence: the 5 friends found a fountain. The 5 friends found a fountain. Five. Friends. Found. Fountain. This picture is fountain. So F says fur. F says fur. F says fur. So 5 friends, found and fountain. Next is G says G. G says G. G says G. The goat gathered the green grapes. The goat gathered the green grapes. G, goat, gather, G, gather, G, green, grapes. G. G says G. G says G. This picture is grapes. G. Goat gathered green grapes. Goat gathered green grapes. Next, S says H. H says H. Harry hides his horse. Harry hides his horse. H. S says H. S says H. H hides H. H says H. Hides H. Hids H. S says H. Next, horse. S says H. S says horse. Horse. This picture is horse. This picture is horse. Okay. Next one is I says E. I says E. I says E. S says ho. Okay. I says E. An insect live in an igloo. An insect live in an igloo. Where is E? An insect in an igloo. An igloo. This picture is igloo. I says E. E. Igloo. Igloo. I says E. Igloo. E. Igloo. I says E. An insect live in an igloo. An insect live in an igloo. Next, J says J. J says J. J says J. The jugger jump with joy. The jugger jump with joy. Jugger. J says J. Jump. J says J. Joy. J says J. Jugger jump joy. J says J. J says J. Next, K says K. K says K. Sentence is the kids kept kicking the ball. The kids kept kicking the ball. In kids case, first K. Kids kept kicking the ball. The kids kept kicking the ball. K says K. Kicking the ball. This picture is the kids kept kicking the ball. So here is K says K. In kids case, first kept and kicking. K says K. Kids kept and kicking. Next, L says love. L says love. L says love. K says come. J says j. L says love. The lamb love licking the lollipops. The lamb love licking the lollipops. In word lamb, L says love. In love, L says love. Licking. In licking word, L says love. Lollipops, L says love. So lamb, this picture is lamb. Okay? Now L says love, lamb, love, licking and lollipops. Okay? Now write first. A says Adam, Andrew and apples. Okay? And apples. Next, B says bus. Which word? B. Boy, bay, banana, banana and bread. And bread. Boy, bake, banana and bread. B says bird. B says bird. Next, C says cup. Cute. Cat. Climbs. And castle. Okay. First, cute, cat, climbs and castle. C says cup. C says cup. Next, D says the. In this sentence, D says the. Word of don't. D says the. Next word, disturb. D says the. Next, dancing. D says the. Next, donkey. So D says the. Don't disturb. Dancing and donkey. D says the. D says the. E says a. E says a. In this sentence, elephant enjoys and everyone. Okay? Everyone. So, first letter is E. A. Enjoy, elephant and everyone. E says A. Next, F says fur. F says fur. 5. In this sentence, 5 friends found fountain. 5 friends found fountain. Okay. F says far. F says far. Next, G says G. G says G. In this sentence, goat gathered green and grapes. So G says go. G says go. G says go. G says go. Next, H says H. Harry hides his horse. Harry hides his horse. Next, I says E. An insect live in an igloo. I says E. Insect. E. Igloo. Next, J says jagger. Jar. K says ka. What is kids? K. Kicking. Kids. K. Kicking. Next, last one is L says love. The lamb love licking the lollipops. Lamb. L says love. L says love. Licking. Loves. L says love, and in word lollipop, L says love. Next page. M. M says M. M says M. Yes. M says M. My mother made a mango milkshake. My mother made a mango milkshake. In this sentence, what of M? My mother made mango and milkshake. My mother made mango milkshake. M says Ma. M says Ma. This is milkshake. Yes. Next. N says no. N says no. Nora's nice has a new necklace. Nora's nice has a new necklace. N says no. N says no. Necklace. Yes. Next. O says O. O says O. An office was opened by the officer. The office was opened by the officer. O. Office. O. Open. O. Officer. Office. Open. Officer. O. O says O. O says O. Next. P says P. P says P. The prince planted pumpkins in the park. The prince. P says P. P says P. So, prince planted pumpkins park. P says P. P says P. Next. Q says Q. Yes. Q says Q. The queen asks question. Q. Q says Q. The queen asks question. The queen asks question. Q says Q. Q says Q. Next. R says R. R says R. The rabbit ran round and round. Rabbit ran round. In this word, R says R. R says R. Yes. The picture is rabbit. This picture is rabbit. Next, S says sir. S says sir. 7 sisters slept loudly. 7 sisters slept loudly. S says sir. 7 sisters slept soundly. Yes. S says sir. S says sir. Okay. Next, this picture is 7 sisters. Okay. Now T says T. T says T. Teeny tots told tales to teacher. Teeny tots told tales to teacher. T says T. Teeny. T, 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 T and T. Teeny. T says tots told tales to teacher. The T says T. T says T. Next, U says A. U says A. U says A. My uncle opened his umbrella. My uncle opened his umbrella. Yes. A. Umbrella. A. Uncle. A. Uncle. यू जरी असलं तरी त्याचा उच्चार जो साऊंड आहे त्याच्याकडे लक्ष द्यायचं आहे. यस. यू. अ अंकल. अ अंकल. अ अम्ब्रेला. अ अम्ब्रेला. सो यू सेज अ. नेक्स्ट, साऊंड कडे लक्ष द्यायचं. वी सेज व. वी सेज व. नेक्स्ट, अ वल्चर visited the Victoria Garden. Vulture. A vulture visited the Victoria Garden. Vulture visited Victoria. In this sentence, vulture visited and Victoria. We says Next, W says W says a woodcutter wandered in the woods. Okay, woodcutter. W says wandered. W says and woods. W says woodcutter wandered woods. W says woodcutter. Woodcutter wander woods. So next, X says X. X says X. A X-plane was sent to a X-rays. X-plane was sent to be X-rays. X. This sound is X. X says X. X says X. Okay. Next, Y says yesterday. Yes. Yesterday a young yak yawned. Y says Y says Y says and Y says Yesterday a young yak yawned. Yesterday a young yak yawned. Y says Y says Yesterday young yak yawned. Yesterday young yak yawned. Y says Yesterday young yak yawned. This picture is yak. Next, Z says Z. Z says Z. The zookeeper pulled up the zebra's zipper. Zoo. Z. Zebras. Z says Z. Z says Z. Zookeeper pulled up the zebra's zipper. Zookeeper Z. Z says Z with Z. Okay. Now zookeeper pulled up the zebra's zipper. Okay. Now you recall the phonics. A says A says A, B says B, C says K, D says D, D, E says A, F says F, G says G, S says H, I says E, J says Z, K says K, L says L. Next, M says M, N says N, O says O, P says P, Q says Qu, R says R, S says S, T says T, U says V says W, W says W, X says Y says Z says Z. Okay, I hope you will understand it, and thank you.